From the #1 news team in Atlantic Canada, the ATV Evening News.
In just a few short years, they rose from political wilderness to political force. But today, the Confederation of Regions Party may be headed back to wilderness. Good evening, everyone. Today, the party held its leadership convention.
There's more at stake than just...
Dank day across the 3 provinces. And as I say, we have this weather system coming in. If we pull up the satellite picture, we'll see the shield of moisture coming up the eastern seaboard, and that'll be here tomorrow. And with that, bringing in the rain and brisk to strong easterly winds, and just not a good day to be out running around. So that wraps up the quick look at the weather. I'll be back later, of course, with the complete weathercast. Now let's take a look at the sports and go over to Ricky. Ricky?
Thanks, Bill. Coming up, we look ahead at sports and take a close-up look at a young man who can kick a football better than just about anybody. That story and more coming up tonight in sports. Now back to Janice and Jonathan.
Thanks, Ricky. Lots more to come tonight. It's that time again, time to hit the slopes, or have you hit the slope? Well, anyway, ski hills are gearing up for what they hope are going to be a busy season.
And as I said just a minute ago, it's that time of year for a tradition here at ATV. It's our annual Christmas Daddies telethon. The big day is tomorrow, beginning at noon here on ATV. We'll take you behind the scenes to show you all the last-minute preparations coming up next.
Cut a little bit off the top, and then we'll put our engine down over the top.
Oh, yeah, it is hard to believe. But yes, Christmas is just 3 weeks away. People are out getting ready for the big day. Christmas tree lights, as you can see, are popping up right across the Maritimes. Operators, though, say they don't expect to be really busy until there's a dusting of snow, and then it really begins to look like Christmas.
I can live without the snow.
Me too. Well, it is a tradition in another way here in the Maritimes, and its stature in the community will be reaffirmed again this weekend.
The annual Christmas Daddies telethon will be seen here on ATV tomorrow afternoon. And as John Waterman explains, it exemplifies the spirit of giving.
We want to hear from Craignish, and we want to hear from Inverness and Richmond County and Victoria, all over the place.
The generosity of Maritimers seems to be the key to the success of Christmas Daddies over all these years.
That it appeals to all of the sort of emotions of Christmas and to the integral quality of Maritimers to want to help people, particularly children.
What began as an idea over lunch in Halifax to help needy kids at Christmas time has become a major fundraising machine 365 days a year. In the 1970s, Christmas Daddies branched out to cover all the Maritimes. Now the 29th annual show is about to get underway. Today, the day before, literally hundreds of volunteers were busy in Halifax, Sydney, and Moncton, setting up props, electronic gear, and adjusting the lights, and also taking time to reflect on the tremendous success of this major undertaking over the last 28 years.
It's exceeded way beyond what the late Jack Dalton and I first envisioned.
Producer-director Jim Hill is the man who co-founded Christmas Daddies way back in 1964.
The generosity stems from not only the people who give, but the people who give their time. Just look around here. I mean, everyone who works this show is a volunteer. Absolutely everyone. Even the people who are coming in installing phone lines are doing it at reduced rates for us. You know, there's just no way of explaining this phenomenon.
Editor Art Steves is particularly proud of having worked on Christmas Daddies since its inception. He'll be here again this year.
I've met people that it has helped, and the appreciation that comes forward to you as a result of it is makes you want to drive and put on a bigger and more effort the next following years, yes.
The Halifax, Sydney, and Moncton Christmas Daddies telethons run from noon until 6 p.m. Sunday. All monies raised are returned to the communities where they were pledged to help the kids in those areas this Christmas. In Halifax, John Waterman, ATV News.
Of course, Christmas Daddies has raised millions of dollars since 1964. You know, back in 1964, the telethon started at 1 a.m. and went to 4 or 5 a.m. So at least now it's back to kind of a normal time. We start, of course, at noon, and run right through till 6, when we'll be right on afterwards with the news.
Absolutely, and of course, it's one thing to make a donation, but please, if you do that, honor your pledge. Well, across the country, many groups are pitching together, trying to help the needy and less fortunate.
In Montreal, the Army is pitching in with the ELF project. Marilyn Weston has the story.
Behind the tight security of the Long Point Garrison in East End, Montreal, military and civilian personnel are working long hours to complete a top priority project on deadline. They heeded the call on the recruiting poster. That legendary night flyer, that old chimney slider, needed them. The kids needed them. Thus was born the ELF project. Their mission? To bring used dead toys to life so underprivileged children can have a brighter Christmas. Last year, they revived 1,000 toys. This year, the target is double that. Could this be mission impossible? What would motivate people to give up their lunch periods, evenings, and weekends for the ELF project when they have Christmas shopping and preparations of their own to think of? ELF project manager Francois Boussière says that they get more into the spirit of Christmas doing this than on any shopping trip. And they can't stand the thought that kids would have to do without a Christmas gift.
To think about the kids, I think then it's our first priority.
Since September, they've received toys donated to the Montreal Fire Department by the public and some stores. They sort them. Out go the violent toys. No guns or other weapons. Using military equipment, they clean them, replace parts, paint them, polish them, till they could pass muster anywhere. Other elves gift wrap them, and then they're stacked in boxes for delivery to the firefighters, who will distribute them to deserving boys and girls with Christmas hampers, as they do every year.
There are definitely generous people everywhere. Well, the complete weekend weather forecast for you coming up when ATV meteorologist Phil McLaughlin joins us.
Also coming up, conditions were good today for the latest mission of the Space Shuttle Endeavour. The latest on the work with the Hubble telescope. Coming up next.
We copy that, Cubby, and there are smiles galore down here.
With John Holloman now has details.
The Hubble Space Telescope is firmly mounted in Endeavour astronauts to replace many of its important parts.
It's great that we've gotten back to the telescope now, and it's grappled and berthed on the structure, and we'll be able to start the EVAs tomorrow, it looks like. Everything is worked out the way it was planned.
The telescope was captured by Swiss astronaut Claude Nicollier as it traveled between Australia and Central America.
Houston, Endeavour has a firm handshake with Mr. Hubble's telescope.
We copy that, Cubby, and there are smiles galore down here.
The initial survey showed one major problem. One of the solar panels is warped and will cause trouble for the astronauts who will attempt to roll it up and return it to Earth.
There is a definite kink right at the upper edge of the second panel there, as you can see.
But NASA has a plan to ditch the faulty panel if it can't be rolled up.
To take the solar array as is, if it fails to retract, stow it on the side and put on a new solar array, and then we will have to jettison that particular solar array.
As the telescope continued to orbit the Earth, cameras on board examined every nook and cranny for any additional damage. The next big job for the astronauts will be a spacewalk to replace gyroscopes and fuses. It's scheduled to begin just before midnight Eastern Time. As the mission continues, astronauts will go outside at least 5 times to repair and replace parts. The goal is to make the telescope fly and see straight. A new CNN Time poll suggests 7 out of 10 Americans have a great deal or a fair amount of confidence that NASA will be able to get that job done. John Holloman, CNN reporting.
Historic hardware from the Russian space program is going on the auction block. The items up for bids include space capsules, space suits, and a lunar surface rover that's still on the moon. More than 200 items go on display today at Sotheby's Auction House in New York, with the auction set for next weekend.
Back in Canada now, a small Canadian trust company with branches nationwide has folded. Printer Trust is being liquidated because its losses in mortgage and real estate have reduced its capital below required levels. Printer has 13 branches, 3 each in Vancouver and Toronto. Also single branches in Victoria, Calgary, Saskatoon, Winnipeg, Montreal, Halifax, and Wolfville. The Canada Deposit Insurance Corporation says it's ready to make special advance payments to insured Printer Trust depositors.
Well, if you're thinking of doing a few home improvements this winter, then here's some solid advice for you. Do-it-yourself home improvements often involve the use of toxic chemicals. Bruce Burkhart now looks at some green building supplies that make renovating your residence a little safer.
Is home renovation giving you a headache? It may be the products you're using. Now you can renovate with materials that are environmentally friendly. Many of these non-toxic building supplies are made in Germany, but are available worldwide. Instead of sheetrock, use formaldehyde-free Etterboard.
Why is formaldehyde a problem? Formaldehyde is a problem because it's a human carcinogen, potential carcinogen.
Joint compound made from plant resins and linseed oil. They're basically the same ingredients plasterers used in the Renaissance. To decorate your new walls, try a non-toxic paint.
They've taken out the fungicides, a lot of the biocides, and preservatives. This has less than 1% formaldehyde in it.
After you're done, you can clean up with a solvent made from citrus oils.
In fact, it'll even take the paint right off your hands. We, in fact, even use this as a thinner to thin the paint. It can also be used to clean wood.
Ask your local hardware store to stock these environmentally friendly alternatives. Bruce Burkhart, CNN, Provincetown, Massachusetts.
The latest on the weekend weather scene for you in just a few minutes from now. We're hoping for a good forecast for ATV's Christmas Daddies Telethon tomorrow.
And then, get out your skis. It's time to hit the hills. We'll take you to the opening of one of the Maritime's most popular ski resorts when we return.
Buying the right truck doesn't have to be a puzzling experience, because with Ford F-Series pickups, the puzzle is solved. Let your Atlantic, Ford, and Mercury dealers put all the right pieces together for you, including a special Enforcer package loaded with extras for just $12,994, including driver's side airbag, rear ABS, and power steering. Play to win with F-Series Enforcer, Canada's best-selling full-size pickup and the best truck on the block. But hurry, time is running out.
When I try out a new pie pastry recipe, I let my family be the judge.
Carol Chudley, professional baker.
It starts with Crisco shortening and this new recipe on the Crisco box. It's called Crisco's new no-fail pastry recipe. The dough is easy to handle, and it bakes up light and flaky. And unlike lard, Crisco is all vegetable, 100%.
Delicious. Cooks who know, trust Crisco.
Great look, beautiful hair. And only weeks ago, she came to my salon with a problem, dandruff. So I showed her what Head & Shoulders can do. We washed half her hair with ordinary shampoo, the other half with Head & Shoulders. With regular use of ordinary shampoo, the flakes come back. But with regular use of Head & Shoulders, look, no more flakes. Looking good, Sally.
Thanks to you.
Head & Shoulders, dandruff care for great-looking hair.
Couple of days, pretty warm, you know. I thought, beautiful. Golf courses were closed. They shouldn't have been. I could have been out there enjoying it. Phil, thank you for the good weather.
Well, it would have been nice to see a bit of sunshine. Well, we did see a bit of sunshine. That was about it across the Maritimes. The cloud cover did dominate, but we did have seasonable temperatures, so that was the plus thing for this day, Saturday. But we do have some weather creeping up the seaboard. So going to today's weather map, well, first of all, the cold front that worked through the area over the latter part of yesterday and last evening that brought a few light showers to the Maritimes is now well out to sea, of course. And now we're watching this rainmaker to the south and southeast of the Great Lakes. Quite a bit of rain in that system and some severe thunderstorms as well. And down in the Mississippi area earlier today, some of those thunderstorms spawned tornadoes. So we certainly don't want that up here in the Maritimes, and I don't see it coming, of course. But we will have the rain come in, and ahead of the rain will be a little bit of light snow, wet snow, and then changing over to rain through the morning hours of Sunday, and then rain for the rest of the day. And also with this system, a very tight pressure grade associated with it, and with that reflects strong winds for for the day tomorrow as well. So we'll take a look at the satellite imagery for the whole continent, and here we can find this shield of moisture, and of course the cloud cover now right in over the Maritimes and has been all day, thickening up as the day went on, and a lot of rain, as I say, with the system. That'll track right across, and the actual low-pressure system will track just to the south of the Maritimes through the day Sunday, so we'll sort of be flirting with the temperatures above and below the freezing mark, so there could be a bit of wet snow mixed in with the rain as well, but primarily rain out of this system across the southern part of the Maritimes, up to the north, maybe a bit of more concentrated wet snow through that area. Once it does get through late Sunday into Monday, a bit of a drying trend coming in behind, a little cooler as well, to take us more into the week, and with that, generally fair weather skies. So here's today's jet stream. We'll go right to the main jet itself. We could call this a storm track, which it is, come right up across the Maritimes, and that will steer that weather system coming out of the Great Lakes right into our area through the day tomorrow, and with that inclement weather. So here's the close-up. Well, look at this. Cloud cover everywhere, of course. The Maritimes have just disappeared under the cloud. We put it into motion going back to this time yesterday. There's that corridor cloud with the cold front going through last evening, and here's what we're watching coming up yesterday, and now it's quickly coming in on the heels of that cold front of yesterday, so one system after another, and the cloud cover certainly ruled throughout the day yesterday and today itself. So forecast-wise for tonight, well, cloud cover everywhere certainly. Temperature-wise, below the freezing mark everywhere, around the freezing mark or just below, and the cloud cover thickening up more and more. A few light snow flurries that begin, I would think, around midnight, but no significant accumulation expected. And as the night does wear on and we go into the day Sunday itself, we'll find those snow flurries changing over to rain as the temperatures get up above the melting point and up across the northern part of New Brunswick, perhaps some wet snow persisting up there mixed in with rain, but generally rain everywhere. And look at these wind arrows coming out of the east, and quite brisk to strong, 50 to 80 kilometers per hour, so windy, wet day, and another mild day, I guess we could say, for the day Sunday. And the long-range outlook, as we move along for Monday, the rain coming to an end and cooling off, a high around the 2-degree mark, and into Tuesday and Wednesday, back to fair weather skies, a blend of cloud and sunshine, maybe a few light flurries here or there, but nothing of great significance. The daytime highs just around that +3 mark, which is close to seasonable for this time of year. So that wraps up the weather for now. I'll be back later, of course, with the wake-up weather. Janice?
Thanks a lot, Phil. Believe it or not, Christmas is only 3 weeks away from today. And although it doesn't look very Christmassy in most places across our region, there is one spot where Santa could land a sleigh if he had to. ATV's Star Dobson explains.
From this vantage point, you'd hardly guess that it's time to hit the slopes. But when we take a look down, we can see the good old white stuff's here, and it's here to stay. And that makes some people very happy.
Winter is here as far as the skiers are concerned, regardless of what happens weather-wise.
So the skiers have come out of hiding to return to the hills.
I'm a racer, and I'm trying out for the Canada Games team this year, so I'm trying to get as many ski miles in as I can.
Jennifer Pratt has been anxiously awaiting this day all summer long. She's been skiing for years.
Since I was 3.
How old are you now?
6.
How come you like going skiing?
Because my daddy's a ski instructor and it's really fun.
Ah. Are you pretty good?
Uh-huh.
But the slopes aren't just for skis anymore. Snowboards are growing in popularity, especially with the young people.
I think it's much more interesting than skiing, and it's cool. I like it.
Hey, you guys, how come you like snowboarding? It's wicked.
It's just like a skateboard. It's light, flexible. They got noses so it can do jumps and grab it.
And just in case you're wondering, no, this isn't real snow, but it's close.
This is what we call Oreo cookie skiing, actually. It's white in the middle, brown on the sides. Everybody's having a great time. We're looking forward to a really great season.
On the slopes of Martok, Star Dobson, ATV News.
Have you ever gone skiing before? No, I haven't either.
Grew up in British Columbia, surrounded by ski mountains.
Why not?
Never tried it.
Be honest.
Not a fear of skiing, the fear of spending thousands of dollars on skis I'd only used once.
Really?
Yep.
For me, it's fear. But I have pledged to go for my first time this year with my friends.
Great. We need some more blooper stuff for next year. It'll be super. We can
Well, the latest in the world of sports when Ricky Anderson joins us momentarily.
Yeah, Ricky's going to have a special report tonight on a Halifax High School football player who's won top honors at the first national punt, pass, and kick competition. That story up next.
The first one. Now that's a
Co-op members on service.
I'm served not only as a client, but I'm served as an owner, and that's a big difference.
There's a friendliness and an atmosphere of goodwill in the co-op stores you do not find in other stores.
I can ask for a cut of meat that maybe is not out on the shelf right now.
The staff treat you with such respect and integrity.
They are cooperative. They really are. They go out of their way to do things for you.
You are the co-op.
Right now, McDonald's is making something special for you. A choice above and beyond what's already on the menu. And it'll be big on taste. It's called McDonald's Taste of the Month. This month, enjoy the great taste of our sizzling Cajun chicken sandwich, spicy seasoned chicken, lettuce, and our special Cajun sauce. Available on its own or as part of our $3.99 extra value meal. As for our next Taste of the Month, it'll be equally delicious. What you want is what you get at McDonald's today.
Hi, my name's Glenn Harrington. What I'd like to do is show you the largest, the most professional heavy equipment training school in Atlantic Canada. All the big players are here. John Deere, Case, Cat, Hitachi, Champion. What I say to my competition, if you can't run the big dogs, stay in the porch and mind your own business. Look at all this for only $2,500. Be fair, compare. Pick up the phone, call the number on the screen, come on down, check it out. What I want to do is make a champion out of you.
Time for sports, but before we go to Ricky Anderson, if you live in the Metro Halifax area, a quick note tonight, the Metro Media All-Star Hockey Team, with Richard Zarowski included, is playing the Halifax City Police Department tonight in a benefit game. Proceeds go to the Metro Food Bank. Game starts at 7 at the Halifax Metro Center. Now with all the latest from the world of sports, Ricky Anderson. Ricky.
Thanks, Jonathan. A battle of conference leaders highlights the NHL schedule tonight as the New York Rangers visit Toronto. The Maple Leafs lead the West with 42 points. The Rangers lead the East with 38. Other games tonight include Montreal at Boston, Vancouver at Quebec, Washington at Ottawa, and Philadelphia at Calgary. Turning to football now, the University of Alberta has dropped its football program. The school cites financial reasons. Players were shocked by the decision. Ian Reid, the chairman of the athletics department, predicts the move will have a domino effect on college football in Canada. The price is all right at the $1 Million Golf Challenge in Sun City, South Africa. Nick Price leads the select field by 10 strokes after 3 rounds. First prize is $1 million. Curtis Strange leads John Wade by 1 stroke after 3 rounds of the Greg Norman Holden Golf Classic in Sydney, Australia. Jack Kay is 15 off the pace. Halifax High School football player Dominic Bartolacci was in Calgary last week as a fan at the 81st Grey Cup Championship. Bartolacci was also in Calgary as a competitor, where he won the place-kicking event at the first national punt, pass, and kick competition.
Well, I had 3 opportunities as well as my other 2 competitors to kick as far as I possibly could, and the best kicker was determined the national champion.
Bartolacci, a 2-time High School Kicker of the Year award winner, whose 60-yard blast was about 10 yards better than his closest competitor, says it was his father who inspired the winning kick.
I was a little cooled down by the time my event came around, so on my first try, I didn't do as good as I could have. So he was sitting upstairs and he came down, had a little talk with me there in between kicks and kind of got me going a little bit. Good inspiration on me, and I took it from there and I won it for him.
The 18-year-old St. Pat's High School student won the national title by beating out regional champions from Central and Western Canada. Was that the toughest place-kicking competition you were in?
Yeah, well, aside from games and big playoff games and stuff like that, I haven't really been in a place-kicking competition, so that was really my only one.
St. Pat's assistant coach Vince Jones says
if Bartolacci had someone who could work strictly on his kicking ability, he could reach an extremely high level.
I think if he gets into a program where he can have an individual coach, kicking specialist work with him, I think he can reach, you know, whatever level that he sets his goals for, which I hope would be a professional level.
The grade 12 national champion has played his final year with the Fighting Irish. Have you been approached by any universities?
Yes, I've been approached by several local universities, Acadia, St. FX, and St. Mary's. I haven't really talked to Mount Allison, but I'm really looking forward to next season and hope to be playing at the next level.
One other winner from our region in the punt, pass, and kick competition was Nathan Trento Matruro, who won the Under-18 National Punt Final by disqualification. And guys, that's sports.
Thanks, Ricky.
Thanks a lot, Ricky.
As we told you at the start of today's show, today was a very big day for the Confederations of Regions Party in New Brunswick. You know, it's been a rocky road leading up to today's leadership convention.
Up next, a look at the party's short but troubled history and a live interview with the new leader, Brent Taylor, when we come back.
When the choice is choice, it's abundantly clear. The taste of the people is different right here. Some like Italian, some French cuisine. That's why there's Stouffer's lean cuisine. Peppers, pastas, and Parmesan cheese. Fettuccine, zucchini, Stouffer's lean cuisine, please. Cuisine for the taste, ooh, I just can't wait. Stouffer's lean cuisine is nothing but taste. Stouffer's lean cuisine is nothing but taste.
What's this then? Oatmeal crisp? Ah, no oatmeal, and this isn't it. Aye, real oatmeal should be thick enough to stop a bullet. And all these great crispy flakes. What good's that?
Crispy rolled oat flakes with a taste of brown sugar, with raisins or almonds.
It's not like any oatmeal I've ever seen before. Not true. It's not like any oatmeal I've ever tasted before, either.
Oatmeal crisp. The name says oatmeal. The taste says delicious.
It's a bonny cereal. But it's not oatmeal.
Just one soup, so many great meals. Start cooking with Campbell's cream of mushroom.
Start something with Campbell's. Start a fancier potato. I never thought of that. Start a more succulent pork chop. Start a richer, creamier, mushroomier chicken casserole. Start something with soup.
Campbell's cream of mushroom. Tender mushroom pieces and all that rich, creamy flavor. It makes something special of anything you start.
Start something with Campbell's.
The Chrysler Magic Wagon was never meant to be put on a pedestal. But with features like air conditioning, 7-passenger seating, automatic transmission, and a V6 engine, and now dual front airbags and steel side door impact beams as standard safety equipment, about the only thing that brings the world's most popular minivan down to earth is the price. 1994 Caravan Voyager, the value and safety leader only at your Atlantic Chrysler team.
In just a moment, we'll be going live to Moncton to talk to Core Party new leader, Brent Taylor. But first, some background history. You know, the Core Party has had a brief and bumpy history, which, of course, was culminating up to today's leadership convention.
How did New Brunswick's official opposition party end up in a leadership squabble? And more importantly, where does it go from here? ATV's Kate Lettrick with more now on the party's past and future.
In September of 1989, the Confederation of Regions Party held its founding convention, and Arch Pafford swept to power as the first leader. Barely 2 years later, after a summer of discontent with the McKenna government and massive public sector strikes, the party had its first taste of political success at the polls, taking 8 seats and forming the official opposition party. But Pafford lost that election, and a month later he introduced reporters to the new interim leader and the man who would later become official leader, Danny Cameron. The party's trouble started early this year when board members attempted a non-confidence motion against Cameron's leadership. Since that time, there has been escalating infighting and expulsions from the party. Board leader Dennis Cochran says it's been like watching a soap opera.
See, I'm amused when I pick up the paper and listen to the media every day and find another installment of something that I didn't believe could go any further. But I think most New Brunswickers are fed up with that.
The end result is this weekend's leadership convention. one that Danny Cameron refuses to acknowledge. Are you going to be watching what happens in Moncton at all?
No, I don't think so. It'll unfold without me.
But the Tories, who some say are in a position to form the official opposition if there is a core split, are watching carefully. Dennis Cochran says New Brunswickers are questioning CORE's ability to provide leadership.
And I suspect when they look at the official opposition with the way that their saga has been unfolding, they perhaps question whether or not that group of people could provide a good government for all New Brunswick.
And what everybody is waiting to see is what will happen when the legislature sits on Tuesday. Who will be recognized as the official leader of the opposition.
Madam Speaker is the person who decides under our rules and procedures who will be recognized as the leader of the official opposition. And I can assure you there will only be one under our rules.
Danny Cameron says he's sorry it's come to this, but he doesn't rule out suspending Brent Taylor and Albert MLA Beverly Brine from the caucus.
As I say, we have a difference of opinion. It's reached gigantic proportions, which I think was unnecessary. The whole thing was unnecessary if they just simply had a review with me, and that didn't happen. So I think maybe there'll be some explanations called for after Saturday, that's all.
In Fredericton, Kate Letterick, ATV News.
Now to Moncton, where we're going to find out the latest from the new leader, Brent Taylor, who just won the CORE Leadership Convention this afternoon. Mr. Taylor, thanks for coming in at last moment. Tell me, what do you feel you've won today? Do you feel that you really do control now the Confederation of Regions Party?
Well, I think the membership control the Confederation of Regions Party, Jonathan. I think I was elected leader today, duly elected leader at a duly constituted convention. And hopefully by being elected leader, I've been able to make sure that the members themselves are back in control of the party. I think it's control that they've lost over the last 18 months or so.
Looking back at some of the pictures that I saw earlier today and some of the prelim reports that led up to this, and also being a reporter back in September of 1989 in Fredericton for the first leadership convention, there were close to 4,000 people at that convention. Today you had slightly less than 700 voting. Is this whole leadership convention taking something from the party? Are members dropping off because of what's happened between Mr. Cameron and you?
I don't think that the convention has taken away anything from the party, but the events leading up to the convention, the last 6 months of leadership review process, which has taken place, have caused the party a considerable injury, and there are a lot of people in CORE who have decided to kind of step out of the mainstream of the party right now. A poll that was released last week showed our party at before seen low numbers, but those voters didn't go anywhere else. They didn't go to the Tories or the Liberals or the NDP. They're still out there in the undecided category. So while our attendance at meetings has been a little lower than usual lately, I think it's because those people are out, but wanting to come back. And if they see some decent political product coming from our party again, they'll be back.
But this isn't the end of the fight. Mr. Cameron has already said, and other people in his faction have said, they are not going to roll over and let this happen. And in fact, we're all wondering in the media right now, who is the real CORE party? Given that, how do you create any sort of unity out of this when you do have the party and your own MLA split?
Well, I actually don't know how we do it, but I know that we have to do it somehow. So what I'm going to do over the next couple of days is try and make contact with each and every one of the MLAs that represent us and carry to them the message that I received at the convention, this message of trust, and ask them if they can accept that and get along with that and work for it. I won't be asking them for personal loyalty to me. Some of these MLAs have said some very unkind things about me and my motives and those who support me and those who supported Mr. Pafford. And I don't know if they can swallow all that, and I don't think they would want to. But certainly if I can get them to affirm their loyalty to the party itself and maybe ask for their respect only if I've earned it later on, that we can start to put this back together.
Well, let's look at one other faction of this, putting it back together. We didn't get an accurate count, but we do know that at least 2 of your MLAs weren't there today, Mr. Cameron being one of them, and the member from Riverview. How many other MLAs were absent from today, and don't you also face the very real possibility of not being the official opposition?
First off, to your first question, as far as I'm aware, there were 2 MLAs, myself and the MLA from Albert County, Mrs. Brine. The other 6 CORE MLAs were not in attendance, and they weren't expected to be in attendance. For quite some time here in New Brunswick, we've known that they were supporting a boycott movement to keep people away from the convention, and I think to a large extent that failed. As far as the leader of the opposition goes, that will be decided by the CORE members themselves, the MLAs that are in the legislature, the 8 of us. Currently, up till the last sitting, which was yesterday, the 8 were all officially supporting Mr. Cameron as leader of the party. Now, I believe that I've been elected at a duly constituted convention, and I will be asking for their support for my leadership And if they don't do that, then that may change the status of the party. It might only be temporary, and or it might be longer term. But perhaps these MLAs will realize that if they don't recognize the decision of the convention, that their ability to present their vision of the future of New Brunswick will be diminished.
Thanks very much for coming in today, Mr. Taylor.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Obviously, very rocky road still
It
ahead
is.
for you.
My pleasure.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Janice, what do we get up next?
Well, still lots ahead on this edition of the ATV Evening News Weekend. They finally hit the 200,000 baby mark at the Grace Maternity Hospital in Halifax. The details of who the new arrival is coming up, plus a last fast look at the weekend weather when we return.
What do you want for Christmas?
I want a bicycle, a Triceratops, a talk show. I want a younger brother.
I want a Big Bacon Classic from Wendy's, biggie fries, an ice-cold drink to go with it, and a skateboard.
Around here, you never know what you'll be doing next. Hauling hay out to the zebras, pulling somebody out of the mud. You know, I think I've shoveled more species of manure than anyone in the country. But the Mazda trucks are dependable. That's the big reason. And strong.
The all-new Mazda B4000 pickup, now with the strength of 4-liter V6 power.
Because you'd be surprised how quickly a Rhino can accelerate.
Now get a no-charge 3-liter V6 upgrade or equivalent value credit. See dealer for full details.
Carol's trying Mott's new Mexican Clamato. Can you describe the taste, Carol?
To me, it tastes like 100 Mexican guitarists strumming my taste buds, filling my senses with the music of salsa, zesty fiestas, Aztec ruins, and muscular cliff divers plunging into the icy cold ocean.
Anything else?
I like it.
Mott's new Mexican Clamato. Salsa taste that inspires.
Listen. Apples. Listen. Cinnamon. Listen to the sounds of a whole other
Apple Cinnamon Cheerios tastes as good as it sounds.
If you're like most people, you'd like your child to do well in school. Want to do something to help? You don't have to have all the answers or do their work for them. All you have to do is show an interest in your family's education. Listen when your child talks to you about school. Encourage your child to ask for extra help. Get to know the teachers. Your child needs you. A little of your time makes a big difference.
Something to think about from Partners in Education.
Yes, most of it is homemade, and it's all been donated by our people that work with the CNIB, volunteers across the community. So most of it is homemade. Homemade fruit cake, mittens, and lots of things.
Ah, yes, it was a flea market with a charitable purpose today in Sydney. 8 groups, ranging from the John Howard Society to Big Brothers, Big Sisters, helped shoppers get into the spirit of Christmas. The nonprofit flea market is just one of many strategies being employed by hard-pressed charitable groups as they search for innovative ways of raising funds for the most worthwhile work in the community.
Did you get my Christmas present yet?
Yeah, I did.
I got you one, too. You'll have to wait. Number 200,000 has arrived, and it's twins. After much anticipation, the 200,000th baby was born at the Grace Maternity Hospital in Halifax.
Yeah, the little baby boy arrived at 19 minutes after 1 this morning, just 40 minutes after his older brother. His number was 199,999. I hope they got him a better name than that. Proud parents are Sarah and Patrick McDonald of Halifax. We're told all are doing fine, although Mom and Dad are feeling a little bit tired today. Be sure to join us tomorrow night when we'll talk to the parents and meet the long-awaited new arrivals.
That's going to be just great, but right now let's take a last fast look at the weekend weather with meteorologist Phil McLaughlin. Phil?
Thanks, Janice. Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're watching this rain system coming up the eastern seaboard with copious amounts of rain in it, and we're going to see that through the day tomorrow with lots of rain across the Maritimes, anywhere from 20 to 40 millimeters likely, and some of that rain will be mixed in with wet snow to start and then go to ordinary rain as the temperatures get above the melting point through the day. So a windy day shaping up and a wet day for the day Sunday, but nonetheless, Christmas Daddies is on tomorrow, so participate in that. The weather's not going to be the great to be outside, so be inside and get on the phone. So to wake up the day Sunday, well, we go with a gloomy face, and real gloomy, we
Our color has gone a bit gloomy as well, as you can see. We'll start the day off with a few wet snow flurries towards daybreak, but as I say, that'll change over to ordinary rain as the day does wear on. The temperatures do climb up a little bit, but at sunrise or at wake up, anywhere from -4 across the northern part of the Maritimes to around that freezing melting point across the southern portion of the Maritimes. So a messy day coming along tomorrow, meteorologically speaking, with lots of precipitation coming in. And, whoops, there we go. Something's gone wrong here. Let's go along and see what happens here. For tomorrow itself, for Sunday, as I keep saying, it's going to be a wet day, lots of rain and lots of winds, at times gusting up to 80 kilometers per hour. Janice, you take her.
Okay, let's take...
Psychedelic weatherboard.
That's right. It's because it's raining out there, or it will be anyway. Let's take a look at ATV's primetime lineup for you this evening. Beginning at 7 o'clock, it's Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. At 8 o'clock, Tarzan, and at 8:30, it's White Fang.
Also stick with us right through to 9 o'clock because we'll be bringing you Kung Fu. Then at 10 o'clock, Counter-Strike, and at 11 o'clock, Matrix. And then, of course, you want to stick with us right through the weekend because starting tomorrow at noon, Christmas Daddies from all locations around the Maritimes, a very charitable cause to help the less fortunate and needy in our region.
If you do make a pledge, please honor that pledge. Thanks for joining us tonight, and we'll see you here tomorrow night. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
That looks real good.